Welcome back to the MIAA Football Media Day at Children's Mercy Park, site of the NCAA Division II Football National Championship game. Today's Media Day is presented by Siegfried Bingham, Kansas City's full-service law firm of choice for privately held companies. We want to say thanks to our media here today and our fans at home watching on the MIAA network. Please remember to check out our student-athlete interviews taking place on Facebook Live. It's a cool feature. For all the fans watching at home on the MIAA network, if you have a question for our coaches or student-athletes, please use the hashtag AskTheMIAA to submit your questions via Twitter. If your question is selected, you'll receive a complimentary MIAA football t-shirt. We've had a few already. Our next team to interview is Emporia State. It's my pleasure to introduce Coach Garin Higgins, running back Landon Nault, and defensive end Gary Woods II. Guys, thank you for being here. Thanks for making the trip. And we'd like to open up for you, Coach, to make a general statement. If you have one, take as long as you'd like.
Well, first off, Gary's a nickel linebacker for us.
Okay.
Gary said there.
I saw him smile when I said defensive end.
Very excited about being here. Really excited about getting the season kicked off. Really feel good, as everybody I know that comes up here and talks about their team. But had a great spring, very productive summer. We have 19 seniors that are coming back, another big senior class. Also feel like that I'm very fortunate to be coaching a great group of players. I really enjoy being around them. A great group of guys. Also very fortunate to have a great coaching staff who they do an unbelievable job of developing relationships with our players, and that's so very important with our culture and the way that we do things. We feel like that we feel good about Emporia State football and where our program's at. Last year I think we had another big senior class. We had 24 seniors. 20 of those players at the end, by the time the summer ends, 20 of those guys will have graduated. We have an 81% retention rate. Our players are staying at Emporia State. We're able to develop those guys. I think and that gives us an opportunity to be successful. And just again, very, very excited about the season, and looking forward to getting practice, getting back out on the field with the players. You're not able to be out there with them in the summertime and things like that. So really, really excited about getting started.
Coach Higgins, last year 6-5, obviously not what you guys envisioned for last season. Have you seen that as a motivating factor for this team going into 2018?
Yeah, I don't think we're using it as a motivating factor. I mean, I feel like that within our program right now, regardless of what you did the previous year, I think we've set a standard to where our expectation level is definitely higher than 6-5, and I think that's how our players look at it too. I don't think that our players are saying, "Hey, we finished 6-5." It's some type of that we point at this season saying, "Hey, we got to be better." We just know that that's what is expected of us, and our players have, I think, our upperclassmen, these two guys here, Braxton, who's here with me, have done a good job of leading this team, because that's where it starts, especially in the off season. It starts with what type of player leadership that you have throughout the spring and the summertime, and 6-5 has not been really talked about at all. We're just preparing to be the best that Emporia State can be going into this season.
Landon, what stands out to you about the amount of returning personnel you have on the offense?
I think the big thing for us is we have a lot of guys that have been in the system. They know what's going on, so going into camp, we're getting off to a really quick start. Like I talked with you earlier, it's more going into camp especially the first couple of days of install is for majority of the team is more of a review than it is an install, which I think helps us, like I said, get off to a fast start. But at the same time, it helps the younger guys coming in, the younger guys that maybe haven't had as many reps that are taking on a bigger role. It helps them as well because they have guys in front of them that can lead the way, show them how it's done, but are also there to, answer questions or anything like that. So I think it helps everybody all the way around.
And Gary, just from a defensive perspective, how do you feel like you guys really need to, or what do you feel like you guys need to do to improve from last year's performance?
We have to turn up our intensity defensively. Defensive is an emotional side of football, and so we have a lot of intense guys on that side of football. So once we find a way to hone that and use that to our advantage, I feel like we'll create something that can't be beat.
Gary, going back to the defensive side, I know there have been some tweaks made to the defense. Do you like those tweaks, the changes that have been made?
If I ain't gonna give away too much information here, but absolutely, I love it. Our coach turned our defense into something that complements our strengths as a personnel. And so once you cater to your personnel, it allows you to do a lot more creative things with our defense and a lot of different ways to attack an offense. So.
Coach over here, having Braxton back once again, how much of a motivator is that for your offense? How much does that really help fuel this team to know that you have a guy that knows the system, knows all your schemes, and can just step right in and just continue doing what he's done?
Well, just the way that he goes about, or how his demeanor is, I think, and how anytime you have a 3-year starter coming back at quarterback, I think the comfort level that he gives really the other players. They don't worry about that position. I think having him there helps the players have confidence too as well. And I think that, that gives us an opportunity to be successful. And then, I also think that on both sides, Braxton, I know, wants to perform at his very best to make sure that he's helping his teammates. And then at the same time, his teammates, they want to do their best. Those guys up front want to do everything they can to protect him, and the receivers want to make sure that, hey, if there's a even money ball, that we want to win that rep, and running backs want to be able to run the football and protect the football, ball security, and all those things. So that's one of the good things, I think, with Braxton, and he is such a very good leader. He's a captain last year for us, and I'm sure most likely he'll be a captain again for us this year.
Landon, a couple of the losses you guys suffered last year were kind of crazy losses and with crazy scenarios. I mean, how much does that motivate you, and does it kind of show you that that you have to, replay matters, I guess?
Like Coach Higgins said earlier, we're not really looking back at last season. We did have a lot of tough games, a lot of interesting ways to lose, I guess you could say, some things that don't usually happen. But at the same time, we had plays throughout that game where we could have taken advantage of, and some plays we let get away from us that totally could have changed the outcome of the game. And I think that's what we love about the game is it's anything can happen on any play, and that's the great thing about this conference is it's so competitive that anybody can make a play at any time. And like I said, we reviewed the games afterwards and watched the film and learned from them. But at this point, we're just moving forward, looking forward to this season.
Coach, you guys were just picked 5th.
What do you feel are the biggest strengths of this team?
The veterans, the guys we have coming back. On offense and defense, I think we're all around pretty well there. We know what the MIAA is about, and it's up to come out and show it.
As an offense, what do you feel are some of the biggest strengths?
Just the connection we've had. Me, Landon, Justin Brown, Jordy Jackson, some of those seniors, we've all been here all 4 years. We've all been around it. We're all in the same system, and we know everything in and out. Just hitting on all the cylinders. So we know what everybody's thinking. We know what they're saying.
What are you looking forward to most about the first game?
Just getting out there. I'm really excited about the senior season. Just giving it my all and see what happens.
Before you hit the field, do you have any pregame rituals or superstitions or anything like that?
I play a lot of baseball, so like a baseball player, pretty superstitious. So I avoid all the white lines, all the solid white lines. I avoid all those before the game. I listen to a bunch of different music, too crazy.
Is there any particular area, that you guys are really focusing on this year that you're saying, okay, we really want to get better in this area?
Finishing. There were a lot of games last year that came down and lost in the last 2 minutes. We were ahead, and I think that's something offensively and defensively we need to get a lot better at. Just closing out games, just finishing them out and getting them win.
Obviously, like a lot of close games last year. How much do you think that experience from last year is going to help this team, knowing that you've been in those situations?
Learning situations, something you got to deal with. We dealt with it then, we just moved on forward. And look forward to those opportunities arising again in those same situations and coming out on top this time.
Is that kind of, the real big emphasis for this team is just on finishing now this week?
Yeah, absolutely, just finishing. Because there's a lot of moments where we find ourselves on top and we wouldn't quite close the door. We kind of keep playing and wouldn't quite just finish it. So this year, coming out, playing football, we're going to cut it where it needs to be cut. So.
What do you feel are some of the strengths of this year's squad?
We're a highly emotional team. We love to compete. We love to compete against each others. And so once we're finally all on the same sideline and have to face another opposing team, it'll be scary sight.
Before the game, do you have any pre-game rituals or maybe any superstitions? Or
Me personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pretty hype guy, in general. I'm calm right now, but usually I do a lot of dancing in the locker room, a lot of hyping, a lot of talking. I like to bump shoulders and, get other people involved. And so, I'm a big hype guy, so I usually put my headphones on, I walk around, shake people's hand, find a corner, dance a little bit, and so, anything to kind of get me in my groove.
What's Coach like before the game?
Fired up, I'll tell you that, fired up. It's kind of nice, right before we go out, he usually gives us a bit about what he's thinking, and in those close moments, you can tell how much he really cares and how much he really is stuck on this moment. And so you kind of get a sense of how intense the game is really going to be and how much it's imperative for us to come out on top.
Do any of the guys on the team maybe have hidden talents, maybe away from the football field that's kind of interesting?
The hidden talents. We have a group of fishermen on our team. We have a group of fishermen, a lot of talented fishermen, a lot of outdoorsmen. So
who are the guys that fish?
I'll say Braxton, Luke Burblinger, Merrick, myself, I fish as well. Pretty much just a lot of country boys in the locker room, so we kind of get down where we want to.
You guys get a group together and
you all go out and go
that?
fish, absolutely. Shout out to the troop. Shout out to the troop.
What's going to be the difference between last year's team and this year's team?
I think, we have the right guys that, we're going to have a really good bounce back mentality, Obviously, we had a disappointing season last year, and we have a standard, we have a culture set at Emporia State that's a winning one. We weren't satisfied with last year's outcome, but we're ready to move forward. We have a great group of seniors, great group of leaders that's ready to step up and take control of the team, and we have so far, and we're ready to get rolling.
Obviously, all the close games, kind of talking to the other guys, there's an emphasis on finishing. I mean, just how big is that this year? And how much, maybe is that experience from last year, having all those close games, you think it's going to help this year?
I think we put a big emphasis on finishing, just, every rep, every play, even throughout summer workouts, finishing every rep. Because it starts with the small things, so you're working on that with the minor details. Then when it comes into game situations, the big things kind of coming together as they should. So, our seniors are doing a great job. Our leaders of the team doing a great job of making sure guys are finishing reps, giving all out effort every play, every rep. So, just to make sure when we get into those situations that we're prepared for it.
Away from the field, are there any guys with maybe hidden talents or anything like that?
I don't think so. I think there's some guys that think they can dance, but no. We have a lot of times at practice, before practice even starts, we have what we call the freak off. Coach Higgins will put on some music and call some people out and make you dance. And sometimes people show out, and then there's sometimes where people get exposed, if you know what I mean. So it's a lot of fun. We keep practice relaxed, and so we're ready for season to start.
So with the season coming up, what would you say are the biggest goals for this team?
Win. We have championship mentality, and I think that's everyone's number one goal. And I think if you're playing the sport and you're not preparing to win week in and week out, then you're playing the wrong sport. So we have a great culture, we have a great group of guys, and we're all focused on one mindset, one goal, and that's to win a championship, and that's what we're planning to do. Probably, we have a couple guys on the team that like to fish, like to hunt, and it's kind of a goofy thing, you know. We have some guys go out and catch some fish, and everybody gets props on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. It's more of a fun thing, kind of just in our group, and like I said, it's just hunting and fishing and stuff like that.
Hey, my thing with Braxton and all my quarterbacks, I always tell them I'm never going to change their personality, and I don't want to change his. I love it. He's very even keeled. I think our players respond to it. I think he's good with our young players. I also think he's good with me. I mean, honestly, in the fact that I'm pretty passionate and I'm pretty vocal and coach that way. And I think it's always good when you have a quarterback that doesn't necessarily have the same type of temperament that his coach does or the head coach does. It kind of helps it kind of even itself out a little bit. So I like it, and I don't mind it because, like I said, our players respond to it, and they know, because I've seen it, that in close games, he's, regardless of how his laid-back personality is, he's a competitor, and he wants to win.
My heart rate is like a roller coaster ride during those games of the MIAA, to where if you got that guy who is playing a critical position, that really is I call him the bus driver. He's the guy that drives the bus. You kind of want that guy to have some ice in his veins where he doesn't get too up or too down. He's just pretty even keeled.
Talk about that emphasis on finishing games. Are there any other areas in particular that you're thinking, or you're really putting an emphasis on for you guys this year?
Well, I think that offensively, I think we didn't have some of the plays that we've made before in years past. I think definitely our receiving crew's got to play better. Everybody's got to play better. I mean, we got to play better defensively, and as a unit, as a whole, we got to be better there. And I think we will be. I don't know. This is an area we definitely, I don't know if we have to be better in, but I'm very nervous about going into this season. I've been very fortunate the last 4 years to have a deep snap, the same deep snapper, the same punter, and the same kicker for 4 years in a row, the same three guys. And I've been coaching for 25 years and have never been a part of that or have coached guys that were together that long, just as specialists. So to me, that is a very important key, because I always know this, but you never realize how important it is when you lose those guys when you don't have them. So that's an area we're definitely going to need to be, I'm not going to say better, but we need to be efficient.
Talking about strengths, what are you feeling good about with this team?
Well, you've not named a few. I mean, definitely, Braxton coming back, our starting quarterback's back, our leading rushers back, our leading receivers back. We got 2 offensive tackles that are back that I think are really good. Defensively, we got our second leading tackler back. We got the sack leader in the MIAA, and Trayvon Ammons is back too as well. So those are the things where I feel like that we got some very good players with a lot of experience coming back. But at the same time, we do have some spots that we have question marks, but as a staff, we feel really good about because of kind of how they performed at times in the fall and kind of how they performed during spring ball.
Landon talked about it. You sometimes come out in the locker room and ask for help people to dance pre-game and get the guys going. They also talk about your intensity before the game and how excited you are. That's something you try and have rub off on your players, and also how would you say you are as a dancer?
Oh, well, I'm the first answer to the dancing part, and I think I'm pretty good. All right, so I'm definitely a lot better dancer than I was a quarterback when I played back in the day. My wife might say differently, but I think I'm a pretty good dancer.